Just.
be on their way. Someone's trying to get in. That's Dorothy.
Hello.
Do you hear Dorothy?
Yes,
Okay.
it is. The snow is sticking now. It wasn't sticking earlier.
It's not sticking on the pavement, but it's sticking on grassy areas. Yes, it's coming down faster than they were suggesting it would. So
Yeah.
The problem is that I need the minutes.
You need the minutes up there.
No, I need the minutes. I still have to send the minutes to
Yeah.
you because we have to
Just-
be able to work together
Yeah,
on them.
Just email them to me.
No, they need to be in teams so that we're both editing them at the same time.
I hope everybody remembers that it's at Charlotte Hall.
Yeah, browser. Sorry.
No, I can't because it's not on Teams yet. I still have to put it on Teams to share it to Teams. To share it to your email, right?
Where is it right now?
Having a discussion.
Okay, you don't need this. No.
Well, they were doing a tour there also, right?
I mean, it's on the agenda, but it hasn't started yet. So we've only got two folks here so far, two trustees here so far. So we'll make a decision about the tour once we get a quorum. And if the trustees say, look at the weather, we'll leave that as an option. That'll be a decision they make.
Okay.
The tour is first. Dorothy's online. She called ahead. And Chuck said he would try to, but I was not anticipating his being on Zoom. And I haven't heard from anybody else. So I'm hoping everybody, well, yeah, I'm hoping people just remember it's at Charlotte Hall. Always.
So well.
Actually, I'm glad Sharon sent out the reminder that it was at Charlotte Hall. So I definitely appreciate it. Even though I'm on Zoom, I had planned on coming up, but the weather said no for me.
Mine, okay, I need Tim again. Dorothy, just to let you know, we are muting the Zoom so we can hear you, but you probably can't hear us. Dorothy, I believe they're going to go on a tour of hall first, so you've got a few minutes, like 15 minutes or so to hang.
I can't hear anything. This is Dorothy.
I gave you all the addendums, but
All right, good afternoon. Let's get a quick sound check, one at a time. Start with Michael, go counterclockwise.
Here we go. Okay, it's on the bottom right here. Yeah. So. Bob,
test,
did-
test.
I hear you, Michael. Hear you, Shannon or Sharon.
Sharon Fitzsimmons,
Yeah, I turned it.
Board President.
Where are we going? All right.
Bob
Donaldson.
As we get our microphones on, we'll introduce ourselves.
I see a little green light
right.
behind.
John Johnston, Vice President.
Judith Gwynn, Treasurer.
Did you get it on?
Ramona Wall.
Perfect.
Dorothy Waters.
Did we hear Bob?
Bob Donaldson.
Oh, we hear you.
Perfect. And who else do we have in the room from library staff today?
Mary Ann Bowman, Deputy Director.
Brittany Cornish, Charlotte Hall Library Branch Manager.
Katie Daly, Assistant Branch Manager at Charlotte Hall.
Haley Potter, Children's Librarian at Charlotte Hall.
All right, thank you very much. We have a quorum, so we're going to get started. And thanks for waiting, anybody who's online. We just took a fantastic tour of the Charlotte Hall Library to help us understand some of the challenges in preparation for the decisions to be made for renovation. We'll start with approval of the agenda. I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda as written.
We approved the agenda.
Bob moves to approve. Judith seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Fantastic. It's unanimous. Next, we'll approve the 2026 minutes the January 2026 minutes.
So about two
Should-
pages.
Should be February, sorry.
Yes, the February 2026 minute.
Two small changes. One on our item 6 where it says Smerler report. The next Smerler meeting will be in April.
Good
And
to
th-
note.
And then on page.
So
The last.
you hear John? Okay.
Okay, we move closer. Was that better? All right. The next one, on the last page at the top where it talks about the Southern Maryland Heritage Area, references the Heritage Foundation. Probably a better word would be consortium.
No, it's A, right? S, Southern Maryland National Heritage Area, I
Okay.
believe is what it is.
Yep.
Okay.
Area instead of.
And that's under which,
It's
which,
on the last page, the small Roman numeral 5.
okay. Contact the Heritage Area instead of Heritage Foundation. And then the second change was under 6 on the first page that the Smyrla meeting is actually not next month, but in April.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, no meeting in March.
fantastic.
Mhm.
Any other revisions to the February minutes? All right, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
If we approve the minutes. Second.
So Bob moves, John seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Fantastic. Michael, over to you for celebrations.
Thank you very much. We have a congratulations today, and that is for Nicole Hans. She is the winner of the 2026 Maryland Library Association's Margaret Carty Emerging Leader Award. Maryland Library Association member who has demonstrated strong leadership potential and they encourage the winner to assume increasingly responsible role in librarianship. Nicole started the sustainability group for the Maryland Library Association, which meets online. and looks at ways to try to improve sustainability in library operations and not just in, like capital things like solar panels and things like that. And she is an assistant branch manager at our Lexington Park location and is very much deserving of this award. So congratulations ever so much, Nicole. We do have some hip hip hoorays, and we have two of our recipients here. So that would be Katie over there and Haley, as you saw earlier. In addition, we have Sandy Kleist, who's in some ways kind of leading this effort. Laura Bunchesri, Connor Roberson, Rini Nagoyan, Emma Carroll, Lilith Mobley, Jake Parsons, Rosa Nakamoto, and Sarah Stevenson. And they have all won for being on our social media team. And we're celebrating the fact that we have just gone over 10,000 followers on our social media. So they've been putting quite a bit of extra work into it and creating some really fun videos. So we are congratulating all of them for Hip Hip Hooray Award. So thank you, team. And I will turn it over to you.
To Judith for treasurer's report. Actually, do we? Okay, yeah, congratulations.
Oh,
Nice
yeah,
work.
yeah.
Now you all get famous social media.
Nice.
Yeah, so if you're not following us on social media, please become a follower. We have Facebook and several options there. So please do.
All right, Judith, treasurer's report.
Okay, so we still have this resolution that will never go away. So I revised it. I sent it to everybody, if you've had a chance to read it or not. So I revised it to reflect the vote was in December, and that we had already decided on these things. And then the last two paragraphs are a little more future looking, that they'll be used for the summer intern program. And the board will determine annually the amount of funds to be used to support summer intern program. So I took out the month. So we've already passed February. I'm trying not to overly get down in the weeds with this, but we decide annually, and it leaves open the fact that we can change the purpose or use of the fund if we ever need to. So this is it, and hopefully we can sign it and not lose it this time and be done with this. So
And Chuck said you already had his signature.
he
He
said that, I guess he meant permission, but I think I'll wait for him to get back. And
Sounds reasonable.
and because Dorothy also wants to sign it, right?
Yes,
Dorothy?
absolutely.
Um,
Okay,
so, and I think we'll probably have that discussion about summer intern funding next month.
Next month is the plan, yes.
It runs around 3,500.
Probably be more like 4,000, but yeah, something like that.
all right. And is there anything else for treasurer's report for this month?
No, the full report is due in
Right.
April. So I did mention to Sharon, I'm going to be out of the country in April. So I think I probably will prepare a treasurer's report and present it to Sharon with the
Mhm.
statements. And then, because you'll need to vote on the summer internship thing, and you can see there's enough money in there to do that. And that's, if there's any other news, I'll do a little one pager for you.
Perfect.
Okay.
That sounds great. Thank you.
Quick side note, where are you going?
I'll give it to Michael to hold.
I think that's actually it.
Have a wonderful trip.
Still two
Thank you.
signatures.
Right. They're not here. They're okay.
Would you like
She's
Belinda
not
to
gonna be
keep
here
that
next time.
so that we make sure we have it?
So
Oh, Judith, did you?
Belinda, would you?
Yeah,
somebody
actually.
needs to hang on to it.
Yeah,
Yes.
let's pass that over to Belinda,
Belinda is responsible.
who will present it next month.
All right. So next up, we have the Smurla report.
Just a brief report. One was the board approved an update to the collection policy to bring it in line with the Maryland Freedom to Read Act. And the contractor providing the facility study, the joint one between Smyrla and the Calvert Library is HBM Architects. So, and they did a survey of board members about how the regional library could better serve the community. And we have interviews lined up for the second community member from St. Mary's at the April meeting. And because of prior commitments, I won't be here for either that meeting or this meeting in April.
Okay,
That's all I have.
sounds good. Any actions for us?
Not at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Next up, the director's report.
Yeah,
Michael.
thank you. We did meet with the Smyrna leadership today, and their work with the architects who are doing their facility study is proceeding apace. And HBM are the same ones who did our facility study, so they're very good and in great hands. So yes, so the first thing we're going to do is take a look at this year's budget. With 67% of the year elapsed as of the end of last month. And things are generally looking pretty good. I don't see any real trouble areas. There are some areas where we are above the 67%, and I can review those very quickly. I don't think any of them are particularly problematic. Other than the Lexi Electric is now at 82%, so that's definitely going to go over budget for the year. It is, it's always a guess as to what it will be before we even start the fiscal year. But the good news is that it's not a huge amount each, month. Yeah, 67,000 is a lot of money, but so we think that one's probably going to require, and those of you who have not been on the board very long, after the end of the fiscal year, we'll do a reconciliation where budget lines that have gone negative are balanced out with those that have remained positive. And generally speaking, we do not dip into the fund balance, although we'll have to see this year whether that happens or not. If you look on page 2 below, you'll see office supplies for a couple of the branches are at 78%, but that's no big worry because when they run out of money, they run out of money and they don't get any more. Top of page 3, we've actually got some good news. The circulation collection's at 60%. That's our books, basically. Remember that a lot of things are encumbered. So the money is set aside because we've ordered the items, but until we actually are invoiced for them, those will not be reflected in the spending. So we're right on track there. A couple months ago, we were, I think, not as far along as we'd like to see, but right now we're looking very good. If you look below under professional services, you see that 98% of accounting and audit is spent. That is because of the extra money that we paid for Bolton to do the OPEB study. But I think we've all agreed that that was money that's very well spent because it gives you a really clear idea about possible actions with that fund. Over on page 4, we have administration at 98% spent on its furniture and equipment, but once again, now that money's gone, so we won't be spending any more there. That primarily went to go into cabinets into the conference room at Leonardtown. Under technology, you'll see that the contract service is at 91%, but again, that's not a concern because most of their funding goes out in January and February because that's when the contracts renew. So in terms of where we're sitting on the budget, about 66% overall spent, so not over, we think, the amount that will send us into dipping into the fund balance, but we'll see at the end of the year where we are. On page 11, you see that we still have $491,806 available in that fund balance. So it's a bit over 1 month of spending right where it belongs. So at this point, no particular concerns about the budget. We will next year ask for an increased allotment for energy in both Leonardtown and Lexington Park. Any questions on that before we move to next year's fiscal year budget request?
I'm just wondering, do you reallocate throughout the year or do you
No,
just
We do
pull
a
from the fund
reconciliation at
balance?
the end.
Okay.
The board has to be involved with any reconciliation. You
Okay.
vote on that at our request. So we try not to.
Okay. And then internal to the library, are you being knowledgeable of things like the overage in energy and also probably eventually in the mobile library's fuel budget is what I'm seeing potentially could happen, although it looks great right now. But with fuel prices going up so fast, I would see, do you encourage staff to like hold back on other areas, or do you just spend and then
Yeah.
reconcile at the end?
We reconcile at the end. We can reconcile throughout the year, but then we would possibly be doing it, moving funds more than once, the same funds, because we're just guessing. So we wait till the end. But when we're looking at somebody that's going over, we're looking at where we can pull it from at the end of the year. So where we need to not overspend somewhere else. So right now, for example, we are looking at trying to make sure that we don't dip into the fund balance. So I'm looking at maybe not spending all the IT equipment. And we have some FOL funds that we can dip into for that stuff. So we're kind of, yes, we are constantly watching every line and looking to see what needs to be done and how it might come across at the end of the year.
And we are looking now to spend down those friends' dollars first. And we have asked other people to say, just slow down here, except for the materials budget, which we track very closely on an almost daily basis. We do want to spend all the book money and the the digital content money we possibly can to make sure that our customers are having the widest possible selection of items to choose from. In terms of any other questions or concerns?
Interesting an audit. So this year's audit, the audit that will be of 26, is that coming out of this 40,000 or does that come out of next year's? Because we don't pay them till the fall. Or
We
whenever they can-
paid them for the one that they just completed, and the next one will not be till next year.
So they've already been paid out of the 27 budget. Will be
Yes.
payment.
Yeah, the audit you approved not too long ago, October, November, has been paid for, yes.
And on that note of audits, next year's audit or this year's audit has started, at least the Bolton part. And I expect to get the next start ones in the next month.
Anything else on that particular report? Our fiscal year 27 budget request, we will be in front of the county next Tuesday. It is St. Patrick's Day, so please come out and wear your green. And we were given this year $118,000 on a one-time contingency base, or because it came out of the county's fund balance, we did not realize that. So we are asking for that money again, plus money on top of it. Our total request is about 724,000. We're not going to get that, unfortunately. I've been going to the budget work sessions. Currently, with all the requests from everybody in, those requests total about $18 million more than the county has on hand. Now, the county is, as we go through these, assigning some things to come out of the fund balance instead, things like buying a truck for one of the divisions. And they are constantly kind of looking again and readjusting. They probably won't know exactly what's coming from the state for some time yet because the state budget process is still ongoing. But they will have a draft of their budget with an expected amount from the state a week from this coming Tuesday on the 24th. They have to have something prepared for the public hearing, which will be April 21st. We have started receiving emails to the county and letters to the county in supporting the library's budget. And I've been posting those at a link for you to review. If you haven't looked at them, I strongly encourage you to do so because they really make you feel good about what people feel about the library. So we're expecting strong public support. And both there and at our public budget hearing. So we know that the county will do for us what they can. It's just a question in a difficult financial year of what money will be on hand. In terms of the state budget, that's not settled yet, but if it goes through as initially proposed by Governor Moore, and ever since I've been here, at least 10 years, it has gone through at the amount set by the governor, we'll be making about $40,000 more next year from the state than we were this year, which is good news. And it's actually more than we've tended to get in the past. So we're not sure exactly why, because it's based on 14 different things. It's mostly population, but as I've told you before, it's things like railroad miles in a county get factored into that. The fact that we have zero, I don't know if it helps us or hurts us. But that would be a nice little addition for us and make up for, what may happen at the county. We're still hoping we'll get some, so we'll just have to see kind of what the overall budget shakes out to be. Questions about that one? Oh, okay, thank you. An update on library legislation, both at the state and the federal level for you. We have submitted testimony supporting several bills that have come forward. The state capital funding bill, that's $7.5 million a year coming from a separate budget for capital expenses. And this year, it's gone with a request for more than that. Um, these are awarded on a competitive basis at 7.5 million, but what they've done this year is say, okay, here's the total that was asked for, which is close to $20 million in renovations. And they say, can the state fund some of these things that are important library projects? So we're going to expect a vote on that, whether that will happen or not. But we're pretty certain we're going to get the 7.5. And that 7.5 will be the fund that we are asking for money from for fiscal year 28 for Charlotte Hall. The Maryland State Library is up for an increase, especially these the SPLORC, the State Library Resource Center. They're the ones who provide the databases for both public libraries and the schools. Also training, they're also in charge of interlibrary loan. So if we don't have something in the region and we request it from another Maryland library or even nationally, they're the ones who ensure that that happens, and their expenses have gone up. So they're asking for a small increase on an annual basis. The most important one for us is Senate Bill 378, which has a crossover in the House side. That is for public and regional library funding. So after fiscal year 27, the year we're going into, those modest increases that are in Maryland code, and you can find in your wonderful red book that Judith has a copy of there, they're scheduled to stop. So if that were the case, library funding would continue flat at that fiscal year 27 funding. We're asking for a small increase, about 40 cents per capita in the next several years through fiscal year 32. So that's up for consideration. Those are the ones that we've submitted testimony in support of. We have not given opinions on several that do reflect on libraries. House Bill 1479 would raise the minimum wage to $18 per hour, up from 15. And there's another one on the Senate side that would raise the minimum wage to $25. The hearing for the one on HB 1479 at $18 per hour, that meeting was canceled, which means basically that bill's not going to go anywhere. I would anticipate that the Senate side at $25 per hour is also not going to go anywhere, with other costs rising. The Maryland business community made it very plain that this was going to be quite a burden. And in libraries, it's not that we don't want to try to pay everybody more than but we can't charge more for checking out books. So unless the state was going to give us money for that, it kind of would have been a real hardship for us. We don't have too many people at $15 per hour, but If we raise everybody to 18, we have the problem with compression because then you're getting awfully close to where our starting customer service salary is. So that doesn't look like it's going to go through. And as I say, we would love to pay as much as we possibly can, but it would be a hardship for us if it were. We did not opine on Senate Bill 535. I've told you about that one before. That would have a student member at library boards of trustees. They've amended it so that, and I told you this last month, so that it's an option and you would have that decision, that it would be appointed by you and not by the county. And we were concerned about that because Maryland law does allow you control over your membership, and we didn't want to have that eroded. Finally, if you do decide to have one, it doesn't have to be a voting member. So if that bill passes, and right now I'm not going to speculate about that, you would make that decision on your own if you wanted that member, if that was a voting member or not. And I think it would be a lovely addition for you to decide if you'd want to do that, but that will be your decision. And I think at least having someone as a non-voting member would be growth opportunity for, say, a high school student or a college student, would give them an insight into the workings of libraries. So you may be able to make that decision. HB 1492 does not yet have a Senate crossover. That allows strikes by teachers and librarians who are members of collective bargaining units. This would substantially, obviously, increase the power of collective bargaining units. And that bill will also make it more difficult to decertify a union if one is in a library. We are not going to comment on that bill because it doesn't have a center counterpart. Come March 23rd, if it hasn't crossed over, its chances of going anywhere are very slim. There's some problems with how it's phrased in that it allows both binding arbitration and striking, which is not typically something that legislation about collective bargaining would allow. So there's still a lot of discussion going on about that one. As I say, we're simply not going to be opining on that. And we'll wait and see what happens with it, but I'll keep you advised. I did have the pleasure of going to Capitol Hill and speaking to the staffers of Steny Hoyer and of Representative Elfreth, and also the staffers of Senator Van Hollen and also Brooks. And what we were talking about is funding for the Library Service and Technology Act. That's the federal money that comes down to the states to get passed out to libraries. It's where the money for our current program, where we've trained the volunteers and they're out there in after school areas in Lexington Park, reading to kids and trying to boost that reading level. It funded our mobile library. It funded our strategic plan. It funded our last facilities master study. So it's really important for libraries to have. It's actually, the funding in the current budget has gone up a little from about 211 to $212 million. Just to give you some idea of the equivalent, that's 2 fighter jets. I mean, it's not like it's a ton of money. It's 0.0005% of the federal budget. So we were advocating that it be raised to 232 million, which is many years ago where it was set where it should be. For the innovative approaches to literacy, that's the fund that funds school libraries out of the federal government. We've advocated it goes to 30 to $50 million. And then E-rate funding, which provides kind of discount funding for libraries for connectivity. So we're up there asking for them to sign Dear Appropriator letters on all these things. That's the next step on the budget. Please sign this, meaning it will get into consideration. And I'm pleased to report that those Maryland representatives we spoke to who can sign Dear Appropriator letters have. Representative Hoyer cannot sign it because he's on the Appropriations Committee. So it's sort of like, I'm not going to send a note to myself. But it was very enjoyable to be up there and proud to be a Maryland librarian. We go in there and they already know what LST is. They already know what integrated approaches to literacy is. They know what's going on with the E-rate program more than I did. So they're very strongly in support of libraries, and so very proud of that. So there was a bill that has come forward. Bills don't often come at the federal level about libraries, but House Resolution 7661 has dropped. It is called the Stop Sexualization of Children Act, and it amends the Elementary and Secondary Education of Act 1965 to say that no school library funding may be sent on any materials that have nudity, lewd and lascivious dancing, or anything that has gender dysphoria. It does make exceptions for something that would be considered classic art. So, for example, you have Michelangelo's David, a nude statue. It wouldn't necessarily outlaw, prevent funding for that. It's kind of a strange bill in that it looks like it's been put forward to deliberately fail. And I'll explain why that is. To define classic works, they say, as set out by Compass Classroom. Does anybody know what Compass Classroom is?
Michael, I'm just being mindful of the time. Is there an action for us on this one?
No, this is just information. I can hurry through this. Basically, they're a homeschooling group that says raise your children the biblical way. So this bill has specifically brought a Christian framework into a government, and it's going to be a pretty clear violation of the First Amendment. I don't think it's going to pass. It won't get through the Senate, but it's notable for bringing language that has been found overbroad and constitutionally inappropriate at state levels to the federal government for the first time. I think it's primarily aimed at trying to generate energy for the upcoming midterm election. So there we are. Any questions about a legislative state and federal update? Yep. Leonardtown parking update. We do have plans and those were shared. They've also been shared with the public and we're starting to get comments. So anybody who's a Leonardtown Library user got an email from us just saying, here's what's going to happen. Please let us know. And I've received so far as of now 5 comments, all of them basically very happy about these changes. The basic changes are to move some of the ADA parking. As you face the library and senior center, it was strung all along the front. And that was to make sure that people who might have been in a chair and not so highly visible wouldn't have to be actually out in the parking lot. It was a safety idea, but if you go to a big retail store, for example, Walmart, they've got to cross a whole line of traffic. So we said, okay, we can work around that. It does increase slightly the overall number of spaces. There will be 4 spaces that are multi-use. So our concern at the library was, well, what about, people who could have parked right there where some of these changes are going to happen, who have a stroller? So that will allow that as well. So that should happen before the end of this fiscal year, by the end of June. The next change will take place next fiscal year, but it's anticipated to happen before Thanksgiving, so it can take place during the construction season. That is going to move about 50 places to that swale as you face the library. And that will be for staff and for overflow parking. It is going to be handicapped accessible. They're going to make it so that coming down that little swale, it's not too steep. So you as trustees, I think, have an exemption from this. You can park in the regular lot. It's almost never a problem, especially the time you'd be at the library when there's not ample parking available. What we're finding is in the mornings, with the senior center and the library both having programming, that it was getting difficult to find spaces. So that's going to be the solution to that. It is, I think, collecting feedback on it now, but I'm pretty sure that this is what's going to happen. So just any questions about that?
You said the timing was summer or fall? Reconstruction?
Starting in summer for the second phase, starting in summer before Thanksgiving, it's supposed to be completed is the plan.
I have a question about the overflow parking. Is there two entrances to that? lot?
Yes, there'll be two entrances to
It's
that.
not really obvious on the right side that
The-
it's an entrance.
No, there will be two entrances. And there was another plan put forward that had three separate kind of different lots. And that one was taken away precisely because you'd have to pull in, oops, nothing here, pull back out, pull in here, nothing there. So yes, it's going to have a round
That's much better.
area to get through.
Mhm.
Maybe suggest they do it one way also,
That would be good.
in one way, out the other.
Yeah, I think the idea is
Mhm.
where there's currently a dead end as far away from the library as you can
Yes,
go,
yeah.
that would be an entrance and it would swing around and come out down by the pickleball courts is I think the plan there. Charlotte Hall renovation update. You have toured Charlotte Hall. We have met twice with the architects, McGinnis and Del Nino, and they so far have just been saying, we want to see the facility. What are immediate plans for it? For example, the HVAC system is supposed to be replaced this fiscal year. Then they came and said, what's working, what's not working, what are some of your thoughts on it? So the next meeting, we're probably going to actually get to see an initial plan, and we will be sharing that with you. Um, they have been hired through December, the architect. So our kind of immediate concern is getting this grant application in for the money. And right now it looks like with the county's money, there would not be room to expand out front here as we had hoped we might be able to do. So if we can get additional funding from the state, and this is a very good thing to say, this is an important addition, but we can't have it without your money. So we will be submitting that application and they kind of are aware of that pending deadline. So they're planning on having at least an initial plan, a construction schedule, a construction cost estimate for us in time to apply. That application has to be in early May. So we've still got some time and we think we're going to have plenty of time to get an application for state capital funding in.
This is the one for $2 million, or was it?
We're going to ask for three.
Three.
And we have an initial idea of what it would cost maybe to do that upfront sort of thing. But it should be enough to allow an expansion there. We had kind of thought about putting something out back, maybe like a patio area. The trouble is, I don't know if you looked out the back door or not, there's all these swales that are coming down and that it gets very wet.
Mhm.
So without some rather severe mediation, getting something back there is going to be more difficult. Questions about that one?
The architect is meeting with Brittany and her staff.
Yes, yeah. Brittany and staff are absolutely included in these discussions. So the last time, for example, met with Brittany, then separately with assistant branch managers, and then went and talked to staff as well. So they are involved in the process. One of our major concerns will be to try to unify the staff areas. You saw them all broken up separately, and in many cases, just much too little space. So we think that that's an important consideration as part of this. Other questions about that? If not, I turn it back over to you.
All right, thank you very much. I am, next up on the agenda is approval of the monthly expense ledger. Before we vote to approve, do we have any questions? I have a question, Belinda. The credit card says Nonprofit Institute.
That is just, it's a conference. It's the Nonprofit Institute Conference.
Got it. Okay. I thought there were quite a few nonprofit institutes and maybe that makes sense. That makes sense. And then the other question I had was for benchmark education.
Are we on the credit card or?
Sorry, I switched to the expense ledger.
What
bench-
page, please?
Benchmark education, it is on page 4. It says Story Champ donation from
So
NAACP.
that is the NAACP's donation towards the Story Champ items that we buy in order to support the grant that we have for the reading.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Thank you.
My question, what are the self-checkout contracts?
So all of those pads that we have at self-checkouts at all 3 branches and are on contract. The whole system itself is a contract that we renew every year.
So does that cover annually and does it cover all 3 branches?
Yes.
And then the last page, the firewall 3-year contract, is that for all 3 branches?
Yeah, it's a firewall that starts at the county. It starts here at Hall, but it's the firewall for our entire system.
But the 29,000 is for all 3 branches?
Mhm.
Okay. And that's 1 year of a 3-year contract.
It's a 3-year contract for all 3 years. So we won't pay that again for 3
Oh,
years.
so you paid all 3 years?
Yes, because it was cheaper for us to do that.
Okay.
We save money by doing a 3-year contract.
Okay. You just have to remember in 3 years to put it in your budget, right?
I have a spreadsheet that I track all the contracts because multiple IT contracts are 1, 2, 3, and even 5 years. So I have a IT contract spreadsheet.
And I'm glad you're taking advantage of the savings, right?
It's why the IT contract line changes every year because of which ones are coming due.
Right, right.
Mhm. That makes sense.
Okay.
Are there any other questions or can I entertain a motion to approve?
I wanted to note, I am very happy to see that we have the library staff that are going above, well, I don't want to say above and beyond, but that they're being reimbursed for tuition reimbursement. So that means they're trying to do something more. So I think that's really great to see.
Yes, we have 5, I believe, right now on our tuition reimbursement plan. Smartless supports that plan and we sometimes offset it with some staff development at the end of the year. So they submit their grades every semester.
All right. Can I entertain a motion to approve the EALs?
So moved.
Second.
So John moves, Bob seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, moving on. All right, we had, for Old Trustee Business, we had liability insurance questions. We got an email about the current coverage. We talked last time about whether the $100,000 for fire coverage was enough. Did we get any additional?
What we're doing right now is working with our insurance agent, and we're going to present them a list of the most expensive branch. And I assume that not all 3 branches would have a catastrophe at once. So we're going to get a quote for you on what would be, what it's going to cost to have a branch. Let's say we have a complete disaster, the books, the computers, the furniture, everything that we own in there. And so we'll give you some idea of what it will cost to up that insurance coverage. And we're still working to get a quote from our agent. But yes, that's kind of where we are on that.
The $100,000 fire thing that you did mention last time is actually a protection if the fire starts with us and other people's property is damaged. So that 100,000 actually covers for any kind of fire that damages other people's property by a fire in our building.
That's liability.
It's liability, yes, yeah.
Okay.
So we don't have any insurance for the contents?
So there's we've been in contact, and we actually have done this. We actually did this last year too. We've been in contact with the county because there's discrepancy with what what we think the county covers and what the county thinks they cover. And we were finally able to clear it that if they have bought it and installed it, it's actually covered by them, even though we own it. And so now we're trying to determine like how much of that we're going to get covered. And then, so we do need more coverage for liability damage for any kind of issue, but we have to figure out what that is and how we're going to determine that between what the county covers and what we can't cover.
Okay.
There will be a cost increase, but we just don't know how much. And because we've never made a claim, we hope it's going to be reasonable, but
Yes.
we'll see.
Probably an update next month.
We hope we'll have something for you next month, but definitely 2 months from now, if not.
Okay. Sounds
And
good.
we're working to get one.
In time for next year's budget plan.
Yes, absolutely.
That's good.
The $1 million liability coverage is a standard amount, and you do have 2 million, so with 1 million per episode. And I've reached out. I can't find any library who's ever had to pay out a claim in Maryland. There have been libraries that lost lawsuits, but in Maryland, we never had one that would be like the board being faulted for any kind of an issue. So I think that the 1 million, which is kind of a standard amount they offer, is adequate for that.
Okay. Thank you. So we'll move on to the question of the Southern Maryland National Heritage Area working with the 300 years of Black cooking. To recap what my understanding was from last meeting, that we were not willing to grant the license that they were requesting and give them the copyright. We did the research and sent to them the letter that said, we don't understand why, if your grant would actually require that. And they sent back this very nice letter that said, that I'm sure you all read, that said, no, you were correct, that they do not require that for publishing. So the next thing I think is to determine moving forward, they've asked for in the letter, if I can find exactly how they phrase it, they would like non-exclusive rights to reproduce, print, distribute, and sell the work in print and digital formats, as well as sub-licensing rights to printers, distributors, and vendors, to preserve the library's right to continue providing free digital access through the website, the library's right to conduct its own printing, the provisions for attribution quality control, and address the coordination of respective printing and distribution efforts. I think my only question mark on this was why they would produce a digital format if we're already granting a digital format. I was iffy on that one. The rest of it seemed reasonable to me, but I'm open the floor for discussion.
I have another concern. That is bullet point 2, sub-license the rights. We don't know who they're going to be sub-licensing it to. We don't have any control over that.
The question that came up for me is what difference it makes to that group for them to print it themselves versus our plans to reprint it. And then
Plans to reprint and they distribute.
Like,
Yeah.
we printed it and he said they would buy it from us.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why did they need to print it all?
I guess they would have to keep coming back to us and asking for more copies is the only thing I could think of. It gives them a little
problem.
flexibility. But where does it say they want electronic rights,
It
digital?
says
I didn't see that.
it's the very first one. Grant SMNHA non-exclusive
And-
rights to blah 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 and digital formats.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
right. Well, I mean, that's negotiable, right?
Right.
I'm very concerned about this sub-licensing. I don't think we have nearly enough information from them to make any kind of decision. What's the cost going to be? I'm concerned about cost escalation on this item as well. We've been given this contract, this copyright, to try to ensure continued availability at reasonable rates. Right now, it's free digitally. That's pretty darn reasonable. I do have quotes from Barefoot Graphics on printing costs.
And what did they say?
500 copies, they will reprint for us in the spiral binding, which a lot of cooks like. That would be $19.93 per copy. So 500 would be $9,966.25. The foundation is willing to pay for a reprinting of 500. I have a copy, I have for 1,000 as well. The cost differential is practically nothing. So we could easily start at 500. It's 1979 rather than 1996.
And 500 was the lowest bit that
That's just
you
what we got the
investigated.
lowest quote for.
Okay.
We were paying more than that to get 10.
Sure.
Price down.
Yeah,
Right.
Print whatever you want, print one.
yeah.
copy.
Oh,
it-
sure. No,
yeah, it's just a-
I
understood.
think 500 was just a ballpark, right?
Yeah, it's just, hey, that's what original printing was. No, it did take us several years to go through 500 copies,
Yeah.
about 10 years, in fact. But demand for it has increased some because of its appearance in Southern Living, but I think it's still going to primarily have local interest in it.
Yeah.
They do say, like in this page 2, the second paragraph of your letter, we would be pleased to purchase copies from the library at cost
Right.
for certain, while also exercising our licensed right. So I don't know why they would need both.
Yeah,
I
We could
agree.
provide them with 3 or 4 or 500 copies. Why can't we start with that and say you can buy them at $20 a pop, and then do we want to license it? Then you also sell them at $20 each, or maybe you could do 22 or something like that. Then why would they also need to print them?
I don't understand that
With
either.
with that conversation in the same room, we don't understand each other. And I'm
Right.
hesitant without legal counsel to do any of this, because this is very complex law. So
I got the impression from the last discussion with them that they wanted to add to the book and change it in some way,
yeah,
which I don't think was the intention of our having.
Right.
yeah,
Right.
And I
I
don't
don't
think
agree with
that's-
that. Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
didn't address it in here.
Yeah, they didn't bring it up at all in here. So I think
Yeah.
moving forward with a plan to reprint ourselves and offer them licensing to resell it with an established cost, additional margin that
Yeah.
we decide.
I mean, if,
So
I think
reasonable.
I think that's a pretty safe space to be,
Mhm.
and say, we'll start out with this, we'll see how it works.
Mhm.
And I think that feels pretty safe, but again, we would need counsel to draw up something
Well,
for us.
another consideration, but I absolutely agree with you, and thank you, Judith, would be if we do ultimately decide to do any kind of sub-licensing, I think we should involve the UCAC in that conversation,
Yep.
who originally created this and
Yeah.
gave over the copyright. I'd want to hear from them what they want in terms of the future of this book. And I have a sense that if there was a plan to change the book at all, that they would say, I don't think so, not
I-
unless you involve us.
Yeah, I don't personally want to see it change.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
It is historical the way it is. I wouldn't
Mhm.
change a word in it. So I do think of courtesy and respect, we should be bringing UCAC into the conversation, just to let them know what's happening. I mean, I look forward to it. If they can get this book out to more places, that I think that's a good thing. I don't have any problem with that. If it's
Right.
gift shops or to events or something and they can sell it, I think that's wonderful.
I think
The
but-
thing I'm having a hard time understanding is their motivation for wanting the rights to print and resell.
Mhm.
If we're giving away at cost or almost at cost,
Yeah.
so. I think it's because they have a grant available. And so they're thinking, we have the money, we could print it if we had permission. And they're thinking like, what do we do next? And not because we have not committed to a print, they're seeing this as a way to move forward more quickly because they have the money for it
Oh.
via this grant, is what I'm reading.
You know, like, would they have the money to just buy the books from us? I don't know.
Maybe the grant
Yeah.
would allow that. I'm not
Yeah,
sure,
I don't know. Or
but
from
that
them.
could be a conversation. So,
So
so-
do we want to bring them in, have another conversation or a little subgroup or
Michael, you mentioned the foundation is willing to pay. Which foundation is that?
St. Mary's County Library Foundation.
friends for the foundation?
The foundation, yes. So
Okay.
the foundation has $67,000 set aside that was donated for the Lexington Park Makerspace. On top of that, it has $26,000 sitting in CDs, an additional about $35,000. And they're looking for things to spend money on.
Okay.
Now, we are going to be buying a fairly expensive piece of equipment for the makerspace at Leonardtown, which will allow much more um, wide, like banner printing and scanning. And we're getting a cost estimate on that now. So they will be spending some money coming up here. They'll be spending $500 to get licensing on an ebook that we're having a community read for. But they have money to do this and they're interested in spending money on
Okay.
things. So,
What happens to the sale price of the book? Does it go back to the foundation or is it coming to the library?
well, they are willing to print it and have any money go to the library because they'd be
So it goes
giving
to
the money to the
operating.
library no matter what.
Okay.
So if we sell it at $20, basically, we're not losing anything at cost. And that money would go to the library. So it'd be
Okay.
basically a gift to the library.
So it goes to operating fund
Yes,
to be
yeah,
allocated.
exactly,
Okay.
yeah.
Then if the Heritage Foundation area sold it, they would actually be recouping their investment too. So it'd be a zero sum for them.
Yeah.
Right.
We say, I mean, I guess that would be part of the deal is if we're selling it to you for 20 a pop and you sell for 20, you guys get to keep the money and offset your expense. So it
Mhm.
ends up, they sold them, doesn't cost anything. I don't know.
Marianne. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what we were.
absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, cost maybe I don't know if they need a slight markup. I don't know, but
Mhm.
yeah, I would definitely.
For their trouble of
It's not gonna sell.
distributing and, yeah.
So they do want to sell them. So, I mean, what if they want to sell them for less than 20? Say, we could say not more than,
Sure.
and then they would be using their grant money, right?
Okay.
So.
So from the board, may I get instruction about how to respond? Do you wish to invite them again? Do you wish me to report back that you have decided that it would be best for us to print, that they may buy them at cost, and we will discuss with them any resale of the book?
I think that that's the reasonable path that we are planning to print and that it would be available for them to purchase at our cost with an agreement on what they could pay, their maximum resale rate.
All right, that's what I will report to them then.
And
And ask them how many they're interested in.
Okay,
Mhm.
sure.
Right? Because, so if we do less than 500, the cost goes up. And I don't know.
well, it goes up per, but the over, right. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
So is the library interested in keeping some and trying to sell them here also?
Yeah, I'm sure that we will put them up for sale as well, and the Friends can also sell them at cost as well if we
So if they
opt to
took
ultimately opt
400,
to go that way.
maybe
But
keep-
yeah,
Maybe keep 100 and
Yeah,
let them, okay.
Sure.
I mean,
and we have ongoing needs to stock our shelves. They tend to go away.
Do we have a storage plan for this? Do we have?
Find one.
space? Okay, just making sure. I mean, we just saw how much room there isn't at Charlotte Hall.
Probably end up in
so-
my office.
Okay,
May,
perfect.
I think that if you are, my opinion here, I think that if you're going to come back to them and tell them that they can buy it at cost, that you kind of set up an MOU with them and give them an amount that they can sell it, as we discussed, over, but a percentage amount. So no more than 105% over cost
Yep,
or
yep.
something. And that way, if the cost changes, you aren't changing that in the MOU every time.
That makes sense. I like that. Thank you.
okay, so the director's going to talk to them about,
Yes.
we'll print, you can buy from us at this cost and we'll
Mhm.
work out some kind of agreement.
And then
And how many are you interested in?
yes. And Michael, can you also then start things moving with the foundation to get that print
Yes,
on the books?
the foundation is already on board, and all I have to do is have somebody call up Barefoot Graphics.
Perfect. All right, so the last thing is the review and revision of the Board of Trustees bylaws. I hope you have all looked at them online. I've seen lots of good work that has been done by lots of people on the team. Do we have any questions or comments as we're here together in a group?
The question I had was the change of the officers from president and VP to chairman and vice chairman.
I did that because the law says, they use the word chairman, that we may appoint a chairman.
Okay.
And reading the law, I tried to align everything as close to the Maryland Code as I could. And some of the language, that's where that language came, yeah. So you're
We
chairman,
need to change.
you're chairman.
Perfect.
Yeah, it finally kicked into me, they say you can appoint a chairman, so.
Yeah, and I've seen that on a lot of things that I've signed and had not connected why it might be different. So
Is it saying chairman or?
it says chairman usually when I'm signing like the,
And also, we are the Board of Library Trustees in the law. Sometimes we do the Library Board of Trustees, so.
That's what the county calls you. Yeah.
The Board of Library Trustees, but we're Bolt, Board of Library Trustees.
okay.
So I tried to make those corrections.
I have a comment on page 2
Yes.
for the treasurer.
Um,
And I'm
Go ahead, Dorothy.
thinking we should add the wording because it is in the, can't even remember what it is. Anyway, it's somewhere else. It said, I think we should add, shall be bonded adequately. So for example, in C, it says the treasurer, and then maybe it should be shall be bonded adequately and shall receive. Because that is listed under in the laws of Maryland relating to public libraries. So that is part of what is in that booklet.
I'm looking at the code, see what it says.
So in the 2025 edition, it is listed. I have to find it now. Treasurer. Oh, okay. It's on page 31 of the 2025 edition. At the bottom, under 23404.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
That's a good catch, Dorothy.
Thank you.
Are we editing?
So section 3C.
So I guess after, sorry,
Go ahead.
after the last sentence? It doesn't matter where you put it.
It's specific to the treasurer or specific to the board?
The treasurer.
Okay, so then I would put it before, I would say quarterly basis at the regular meetings for January, April, July, and October, period. The treasurer shall be bonded adequately, period. The board shall have sole right to authorize any expenditure of, well, no, actually, I think it goes at the beginning like Dorothy had the first time.
Right. So it would be
Yeah.
the third word. So the treasurer shall be bonded adequately and shall receive, and then the rest of it. So it just goes
That
in
makes
that order.
sense. Yeah, that's a great catch. I'd like to come back to the beginning and ask about why we changed benefit the community of St. Mary's County to benefit the citizens of St. Mary's County.
That was just my preference. Citizens is more, to me, the actual people that we serve. Community is a little vague, but it's not, I'm not going to die on that hill. I just thought that's a reminder to us that we serve people. Yeah.
I almost like having people there because I think it meets that need without making like a residency requirement, which is sometimes challenging when you say citizen.
I prefer people as well.
Yeah, can we just make aren't St. Mary's citizens? Yeah, that was what I was asking. So can we change citizens in Article 2 to the people of St. Mary's County? The benefit of the people of St. Mary's County.
I agree.
Okay, we'll move on. You'll get there. All right.
I'll have something else too. I'm sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Um, and on the first page, we have attendance. So we have any trustee who misses 4.
Mhm.
On the, in the, again, from the
Okay, so,
laws of Maryland, should we have 5 or does it, I mean, I think 4 is fine, but if,
okay, so this is how I did this. I started making comments. That's my comment. What's unexcused, what's excused, how do you define that?
Hmm.
And then I put in what the code says, you can miss half of the meetings. And then I thought, well, let's just get away from using excused and unexcused. People can have a very valid reason to not be here, health, family, travel. But as a board, we may come to the conclusion like, this may not be working for certain, it doesn't, how do you define excuse again? So if the absences become of such a number that the board becomes concerned, we need to have a discussion. And then just so the section could simply be that last sentence only. Any trustee who misses 4 more meetings. may
But
be
if-
removed. And that would be the whole section right there. Now, that's just my opinion. That's how I saw it.
Yeah, so what if we change it to 5 because that's what the law says? So if we just make it so it says any trustee who misses 5 or more meetings in a calendar year may be removed by a majority vote of the board. And then add a sentence that says 2 consecutive absences by a trustee from regular board meetings may result in the consideration of a trustee's. Like, keep that sentence because that does allow, like, if somebody doesn't show up for 2 months in a row and doesn't let us know,
Mhm.
like we have no idea, they didn't contact, we'd then be able to consider the position abandoned before there's 5 absences.
Okay, so 2 absences without notification.
I like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So if we make the any trustee sentence the first one in the section, and then the 2 consecutive absences, the second sentence in the section. Okay. Okay. Yep. No worries.
Okay, so that becomes number 1 and 2 consecutive
We remove
absences
unexcused. Yes.
by a trustee from the regular board meeting may result in consideration of trustees replacement on the board. Okay.
Yep.
And then you can strike the section 23-404. That was just
Yeah.
a note. That was just a note. Okay.
Yes. Remove unexcused.
My comments there, unexcused and then in parentheses, remove all that. Then go to the end of that sentence, the last word is board. And remove the next sentence, which starts section 23-404. Remove that whole sentence. Let's all delete it.
I'm a little nervous about moving that unexcused.
And then.
Oh, I think Judith proposed adding to the next sentence without notification.
That makes it a little clearer.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so 2
Okay.
consecutive absences by a trustee from regular board meetings without notification to the board may result in the consideration of a trustee's replacement on the board. Because that allows us to not wait for 5.
Okay.
To the board may result in. Right. Yes.
But in that section, the next sentence down, any trustee, that gets. That becomes the first sentence. Yep, you want that number 1.
I am wondering if, since we can't edit it live and we're getting close to 5 o'clock, let's plan for this to be next week and take it as homework to work on it online. So if there's anything else we want to broadly discuss or make sure that we note from each other while we're here together, let's do that. And then like we can change the wording of it as we go
Yeah,
later.
I'd like to point out that we need some instruction for people to use the Google Docs, because if you don't hit, I think it's submit or share, it doesn't get saved. And you worked on a document that we had edited the day before and sent it out, and it wasn't the latest document.
So I used the one, that's a really good point. I edited the version that the library had posted to the share folder.
Yeah,
Yes,
only
but I
that's not-
think
that's
you
not
guys had a
Google
different
version.
copy
Google saves
somehow.
automatically, so as
Yeah,
you go along.
When we were working on the document, it was the one with the link that,
So if you clicked save, it saved to your local and not to the
No,
library one.
No, so Bob and Judith sent out an original link to the bylaws that they were working on. When we set the board meeting up, that was moved to our normal Google Docs. And that's the one you worked on, but they had been working on a different link
Got it.
document.
Okay.
but I didn't
Right.
understand why that we were.
Yeah.
Will I
Yeah.
reshare the link that is the original link so that everyone's working from the same one?
So it would, Google is difficult to manage multiple folders. And so it needs to have the one that they have moved to your folder. So we all have access.
Send us a link to it.
And then that way your folder is the only version.
Right, there's a version that you have in front of you in print that is a Word document that has everything in it. So I will make sure that that is
It doesn't
in.
have all the edits that we put
I
in.
think this one does.
This has everything.
Yes, they adjudicated this afternoon or this morning when they found that
I-
there were
I
two
took-
copies.
Yeah, check.
What you did, Sharon, and the previous version, and I appended what you put into the end of this. So this is everything. And this is currently in,
Google Docs.
it's currently in our online folder, but I will move it to that Google folder. And I'll send a link to that so that
Okay.
you'll all have access to the one version. And I will probably take everything else out of that just so you see, yeah, all right, here's the one thing I need to look at.
So
They're automatically saved, right?
Yes.
Yes.
yeah, in the email that you,
No.
No,
No.
yes.
Y'all can get into it.
Yes.
Share, anyone who has access should be able to
Yeah.
see it.
when you send an email out, some instructions on how to use Google Docs would help in email. Because Judith and I had never used Google Docs before. I figured it out. You have to, when my stuff didn't get saved, when I signed off, I figured out you have to hit share or she wouldn't see it.
Okay,
That's what
no,
happens. Okay, so we will make sure that we send out instructions. We all have the same link. I think the library staff is on it. That's what they do. They manage information. Is there any of this that we, yeah, right? And they also give really good instructions. They just didn't know that we needed it. So I think we'll find that. Can we go through really quickly and see anything that any of us worked on that we want to make sure we either had a question about and we'll just star it. We're not going to spend a lot of time discussing and wordsmithing, but star it and then we can put comments in and read each other's comments.
I think the
Section
decision
6.
points are Robert's rules or the county rules. That's a decision point. You have to kind of look at both of them. I do like that the county rules that we were provided are pretty
Yeah,
much
I put the county rules in your packet.
summarized on 3 or 4 pages. So that actually gives us something to go to say, here's our rules. I don't want to be overly efficient with the rules.
And
But-
Bob also provided a
Yeah.
summary of Robert's rules for you that I.
The
yeah, yeah.
decision point we need to make
Okay.
at some point next time.
But-
To me, that's a,
The one point about the county's one is it invites public comment and we don't do that. So
Ah.
you got to make sure that's not in our version.
Well, I mean, if we have people here,
Can
they
come.
can comment.
here.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, these meetings are open to the public. We have occasionally had people attend.
And
I think the county's is just a reiteration of Robert's rules in many ways.
I think one difference is that I don't think Roberts allows the chair to make motions
That is true.
yeah.
and the
Chair
county's does. So it's kind of a slightly streamlined version. You get to make your absolutely own decisions, but that is what the county uses for its own activities and for all other boards. So that's kind of what they consider the official version that you would want to use, but you are independent and you get to make your own, sort of pre-decisions about who's going to be on your board. So you have license to make it Roberts if that's what you want.
Okay. Yeah. Do we have strong opinions about that? I also like that the county one is much simpler.
Yeah.
I like it also.
Okay.
So I think we just need to go home and read those and see what you think.
Yeah,
That's
and
a
then we
decision point,
can-
I think.
We can do that online.
And
And then,
made a lot of comments. I love the appendices. I love the idea. I think I had it, lost it. I.
oh, you had talked about Appendix C, putting the
well,
whole
I think
text
I would just put the whole resolution as Appendix C, just put the whole thing because. now
minus
we're
the account
kind
number.
of immortalizing things in one place. So we know when a new trustee comes in, they're gonna get this document with the appendices with instructions on things we do.
Minus the account numbers. It
Um,
probably sanitize out the account numbers.
Okay.
In addition, whichever of these we adopt, if it's kind of, that should probably be it's only 3 pages as an appendix. So,
Oh, I mean.
Oh, the rules of, or the rules as an appendix,
because then you've always got it there.
That's,
potentially, or, yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, I could see that, right?
And once you approve a version, we will send it to the county. It is posted on your what used to be board docs page and is now your diligent page. What your rules of order are, what your bylaws are. So we'll send that to the county and they can post that. And so that way it gets kept. And if you have future updates, we need to make sure they see that version too.
And I just was, Appendix A, I was just going through streamlining a lot of it. I can share that.
Yeah,
with you guys.
that would be great.
Streamlining it down.
Yeah, I just took
Like it down to
basically.
weeds.
chunked
I don't think we
them.
should be telling the county how to run their process. I was trying to strip out those things, so,
Mhm.
but I've done all that work, so you can see that.
Fantastic. Okay.
I think those are the big decision points for me.
So tomorrow, you will have access to what is this print version? I uploaded in Word. But I think Google often says, well, you can't do that, and it converts it. So I will give you this version, and it should be what you need to be working from. It will not include any changes you've made so far tonight,
Okay.
as far as I know, unless you've got those that you can send to me.
They have some, I think, and they had worked on
They
taking notes,
made,
and I also have them written down.
So Michael.
Or that what you did, what was already in there and what we've done today is on the Google Doc before Michael uploads it.
Thank you.
It will probably be a Word version, because that's what I downloaded it as Word.
Yeah, we'll
So,
get it all together.
Yeah,
And it
get
will be
that
a
and
Google
send it
Docs.
to me and it will become a wonderful Google Doc
Perfect.
that I will upload in Word, and with it, let you edit in Word. That might be easier for folks, but it may not. It may say, nope, got to do it in Google Docs. You can download it in Word, work on it in Word.
Yeah.
And then make your changes online. Kind of defeats the purpose of the whole thing, which is you've got a shared document, but hey.
Yeah, for me, it'd be simple if we were just editing it in Word, because I know how that works.
Yeah,
The problem there is adjudicating changes between multiple people. And that's
Yeah.
one of the magics of Google Docs is it allows multiple people to work at the same time.
It's a better collaboration tool.
Yeah, but we just have to learn it. So we'll get there. All right. That is the old trustee business. I have nothing under new trustee business, but I want to open up and make sure no one else has anything.
Just had a note of praise for the mobile library staff. Very helpful when I visited the mobile library at the farmer's market.
thank you very much.
Nice.
We got
Anything?
great people working for us. We've got wonderful people working here.
That's true. All right. Anything else from anyone else? Dorothy? We're good? Okay, perfect.
A reminder that our budget hearing is next
Tuesday.
Tuesday. We'll begin at 1:30. We will not be up first, but we will be on. Typically, they call me up to ask questions. I did send them an email today with a complete breakdown of everything we're asking for, including the amounts that are one time only this year that we're asking that they make up. Because it's St. Patrick's Day, I will be accoutered in an interesting fashion.
Very fun. All right.
We're breaking out the kilt.
If there's nothing else, I will entertain a motion to close the meeting.
So moved?
All right, John moves.
Second,
That sounds like everybody seconds. All in favor.
Aye.
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 Thank you all.
The county rules allow you by acclamation to just say we're done. You have to take a vote on, then take a vote on that one.